I think we can start now with the introducing first. Today we have the webinar titled Simplify Class, Group, and Assignment Creation with the latest NEO updates. So I hope you already expecting something good from this webinar because we have new updates that are really good also. And as for today's, I won't be alone here with the webinar. First, I would like to introduce myself. My full name is Nurfitriani Zakaria, but you can just call me Pipi Zakaria. I'm the EdTech Director based in Indonesia from CYPHER Learning. And along with me here today, I have my lovely teammates here, Judith. Judith is the EdTech Specialist from the Philippines. Hi, Judith.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Hi, VP.
Hi, hope you already had your breakfast. Okay, so for today's webinar, it's actually one move that we CYPHER Learning have to create an innovative approaches to teaching and learning. So that's why we have this regular product update webinar. So you can expecting more webinar to come in the future regularly. So you can check out all the product updates that we have. So as a teacher and as the administrator of your school or organization, you can create a better learning experience with these cool new features or innovation that we already have. And today's topic will be a few overview of our latest new features updates from NEO. And then we also have simplification of class features. We have the simplification of assignment features. And last is the group features. And the last part of this webinar will be a Q&A. So if you have any questions related to these topics or maybe outside this topic but about NEO, you can always drop your question in the Q&A box and we can address that later after we go through these topics first. And after the webinar, you can obtain or issue a certificate, but this is only for those who already registered. So if you watch this webinar from streaming from FB, let's say, you haven't registered yet, you can still register right now just by scan to this QR code appear in the screen and register yourself. So later after this webinar, and you can get the certificate through your email address. So maybe I'm gonna freeze this screen for 1 more minute. So to those who haven't registered yet to this webinar and would like to get the certificate after the webinar, please scan this QR code and you can register from that link. And then after the webinar, after the topics, we have the Q&A session. So like I mentioned before, if you have any questions related to the topics or maybe related to NEO, generally, you can put that question to our Q&A box. Okay. So I think we can start our webinar with the topics that we already said today. Okay. First, it's gonna be about our overview of some of our latest updates. First of that is we have larger file uploads limits now. So if you are a teacher or the administrator of your platform, now you can upload file up to 2 GB per file. But you can, as usual, you can upload as many files as you want. We have an unlimited storage for the premium subscriber. But now we have limits up to 2 GB for admin and teachers. And for your student, for their submission, they can now upload up to 200 MB file size. So that's larger than before. Before these updates, we only limited student for 100 MB per submission uploaded. And then the next one is we have upgrade our app center. So if you go to your NEO site right now and visit the app center, now before we structure the app center alphabetically. But now we have the structure, we organize it with a categories. So you can select the categories from the right side of the page, and you can find the apps related to that categories. So it will be easier for you to find certain apps that you need. Okay. Next, we also have a simplification in deleting organization. If you already use our organization features in NEO, when you want to delete certain organization, you cannot do it if there's still some items in that organization, maybe a course or maybe a groups or maybe students still inside that organization. So you cannot delete that organization. So our new updates will allow you to delete that, but before deleting it, you can transfer the existing items on that organization to the other organization first, and then you can delete that. So it will be easier for you not to go to each part again and transfer everything before deleting it. You can do it now in one page only. So it will be easier for the administrator especially. Next, we also have this explicit placement for new organization. The idea is when you create a new organization, sometimes you would like to put it as a child of the other organization, or maybe you would like to put it above as a parent of the other organization. So you can now have that option when you create a new organization. So as you can see in the screenshot, when you create a new organization, now we have this option. You can put your organization whether at the start of the list, or maybe as a first child of certain organization, or maybe before certain organization. So you can choose whether you would like to put the new organization with these options. Sorry, I clicked too much. Okay. And then the last one is, this is also for the administrator, especially, and the teachers. You can now deactivating or reactivating your student from their profile page. So the idea is you can just visit your student profile page, and you can now see a button reactivate or deactivate. So you can just select the class that they are enrolled to, which currently they are in a status of deactivate, and then you can just select the classes and select the button to deactivate or reactivate that particular student. So it will be easier. You don't have to visit each classes and then deactivate them from all of the classes. You can just visit the profile page and select all the classes related and reactivate or deactivate that particular student. So I hope this is only the overview of this newest updates that we have in NEO. You can see more details also in our product news, or maybe in our next webinar that we have. But for now, we can continue with the topic about the simplification. So for me now, I would like to start with the simplification of class creation. Allow me to share my screen again with the, okay. So for now, I'm going to talk about how we have class creation more simpler now. So before, as usual, we create the classes by hover over the classes menu here on the left side and click the add button. And when we click class to create one, usually what we have will be a field of class creation that we need to input, and we have an option tab, which is the optional configuration that we can add to our class that we want to create. But right now, if you would like to create class, you just have to fill in this field only without that optional configuration. So it will be simpler. Let's say I create a physics class. So that will be, let's say, science. And then let's say it's grade 10. And select the style as usual. This is basically the same with before, but now we remove the option tab. So it will be quicker for you to create a class. And once you click save, usually you will broke to the modules immediately. So you can create modules immediately or lesson after you create class. But right now, since we remove the option tab, now we have another inline help for teachers, especially if you this is your first time creating classes in NEO, you won't get lost with this guide, because after you create the class, now you have this inline help which guide you to configure your class first. So this landing page first is the configure. So you can select the configuration first, like the basic or which features that you would like to enable or disable, enrollment, assignment, completion, and the other configuration about your class. You can set it first immediately before you starting at lessons. And then the other things about this configuration that we have, the new updates will be under the features tab here. So previously, we only have all the left tabs option. So you can only find left tabs option to be disabled or enable under this features tab. But right now we put the start page tabs also here. So you don't have to go to the basics and then features to enable or disable the left main menu bar on your class. You can just visit this features tab and choose which one that you would like to enable or disable. Yep, like that. So it will be easier for you also. And once you already set with the configuration for your class, you can click the landing page here, the button on the top right corner of the center area. And then it will bring you to the lesson page where, as usual, you can start populating your classes with lessons and sections. So that will be some of the simplification that we have for the class creation. And also for the teacher and administrator, if you would like to book enroll your student to your class, usually you would need the LMS ID for your class. Usually we find the LMS ID here, and not many people really know that this is actually an LMS ID. Here, the number at the end of the URL. But now you can also, you won't get lost in finding that LMS ID again because we currently have it in the right side widget of your classes. So if you see it on the right side of your class, all the information about your class is here, including the LMS ID. So if you would need this LMS ID, let's say for bulk enrollment purpose, you can just copy and paste this LMS ID from here. So yes, I think that's about the first topic about the simplification in our class creation. Maybe you can try it later after this webinar. And if you still have any question regarding this topic, you can put that in the Q&A box. And then for our next topic, we will talk about some simplification that we have also in group and assignment creation. And that will be covered by my friend, Judith. And please, Judith, I'll leave the floor to you.
Thank you, PP. So good morning, everyone. So as PP mentioned, we're going to be discussing how to simplify our use of groups and the assessments in our classes. So let me just share my screen so everyone will be able to see how we can do that. Okay, so this is my sample class. I am a teacher. Okay, so I'm going to be going to the class that I am currently teaching, which is English for academic and professional purposes. And I'll go to my assignments tab here in the left main menu. So as you can see, I have already some assignments already ready. So I'm just going to go to this particular one, the checkup quiz. So the first the first update about the assessment simplification is we know that when we go to the questions tab, it's easier now to create questions. Before, when we used to create questions here on NEO LMS, we would have to create them automatically in a question bank that is pre-made for us. Now we can just add questions very simply. So we're going to be doing that very quickly right now. So I'll go back to my assessments tab and I will go to the upper right-hand corner, which is the add button here. And then as you can see, there are different classifications for adding assessments. We have the individual tab, we have the groups tab, so group assessments, we have integrations tab, and then we have the library tab. So with the library tab, if you have created assessments previously in another class, that's in your own library, you can select it from here. So I'm just going to go to the quiz. So again, this is applicable for all of the different assessments on NEO. So for example, this would be quiz number 2 or number 3. I already have a quiz number 3. And then we would again put our questions here. So for our instructions here, answer each question correctly by choosing the correct option. And then we can save. So as PP mentioned that there are a lot of inline help with the quizzes now. So if we go to the questions tab, you will see that you can, NEO LMS is prompting us to do the next step. So this is one update that a lot of teachers, especially new users of the site can use. Okay. So going back, we also have an update, which is printing answer keys for our quizzes, especially for those who are going back to school, going back to the physical classroom, and they would like to check their students' answers with them or give them the proper feedback. So I'm going to go to my one quiz here, the summative quiz or the gateway quiz here. This has already been pre-made. So when I go to the questions tab, when I go back to the questions tab next to the assignment tab, when I scroll down, I do have an answer key button here. So when I click on answer key, I will be able to get input the correct answers. Okay. And then this can also be printed. Okay. So that is another update that we have here. The next one is for the quizzes. We have an improved score rules tab and the score rules configuration. So I'm going to stay in my quiz, the summative quiz or the gateway quiz. And then I'm going to click on score rules. Okay, so as you can see, I already have a rule here. I can add another one. So for example, I will do this less than or equal to 99. Okay, 99. And then greater than or equal to 90. And then save. So we do it as the same process, however, it has become easier. So if we go to this new quiz that we created earlier, maybe it will be here, better here, the score rules. This is where you can do that same process in which we did earlier. So for example, if it's equal to 100, scroll down to 100 to save. Then we can add an action here. So as you can see, adding the actions is now easier. We have the access tab, we have the awards tab, we have memberships tab, and then we have other tabs. So it's easier for automated actions within NEO. Okay. And then if we would like to grade our learners, it's now easier to see because we now have a search option to find which learners have submitted already. So for example, I'll go back here to the summative quiz, gateway quiz, and then I will go to the grades tab. So with the grades tab, for example, so if you can see, these are national heroes of the Philippines. So I'm going to click on Andres Bonifacio. As you can see, so this is like the same process, right? When teachers start marking the assessment of the learners, we will go to the submission tab, and then we'll be able to view any submission by the learner. So for example, Andres Bonifacio, you can input his score here. And then when you go to this, to the learners' names in the drop-down menu, before you can just pick, now you can simply search for a learner instead of choosing one. So for example, Jose Rizal, I would like to grade his quiz and I'll give him a 5 as well. So those are the different updates, um, the new updates for grading and assessment here on NEO LMS. Now, our last topic for our session today is about groups. So we have a lot of updates about groups, the simplification of the group creation, which we're going to be showing it now. So I'm currently here I will go back to the dashboard to reset my user experience, and then I will go to the groups tab. Okay, so I am a teacher. So this is for teachers and administrators when they're creating groups. I will go to the groups tab and I will add a new group. Excuse me. And then I can put my group here. So for example, this would be humanities and social scientists group, um, Philippine Heroes. This is something, take note of the name that I chose because this is going to be important with the very last feature we'll be discussing today. And then we'll call this the study, or we can choose any kind of type group it is, for example, the student group. And then I'll click on save. So as a teacher, I have created a group and now I'm going to be adding my own learners. Now, before I add members to this group, these are other things that we can do with the groups feature. For example, when we create a group, we will be brought now to the inline help or the admin settings of the group. And again, Neo is prompting us to do the next steps. Again, this is great for teachers, new users of the platform. When we go to the catalog, we have now a group visibility feature. So you can set conditions or the visibility features. You can add conditions on who this group is available for. So, for example, this would be only available for learners or students. And then we can click on save. So other teachers will not be able to find this group or they will not be able to add it. Okay. And then lastly, one of my favorite features or the favorite updates that this has been released in the past few months, we have an automatic group membership. So before we would have to add members using the people picker, or for the administrators, they would use the bulk upload or the bulk import. Now, what we can do is we can set membership automatically. And the great thing about this particular feature is once you have set the automatic features, okay, when you have set the automatic features, which I have to enable, uh, you'll be able to, the system refreshes every 5 minutes, and then you will be able to see that your groups have been added here. So I have to enable it first. Membership configure. Oh, it should be here already. Um, Hold on. PP, do you remember where the automatic membership is? Oh,
Sorry, I was mute.
yeah.
The automation part. Yeah, that
Oh,
one.
automation.
Yes, you
It's
can put
not.
it from.
Okay, it's not. There should be like uh the there should be a way where you can add groups here. Maybe I'll add it
Yes, it's. Wait,
as
let
an
me open mine.
admin. Hold on. Groups. Let me add here. Philippine. I will check as an admin.
Yes, it
Enable
should be
to-
at, I
There we
think,
go. Okay, so
yeah,
this needs to be
as
an
an ad.
admin feature. So it's not for teachers, it's an admin feature. Okay, so to correct this one, so you can see I created a new group, the Hume's Philippine Heroes. And then when I go to the membership tab in the admin settings of the group, there is a section here called automatic membership. So again, you can add a filter here, and then with this filter, all you have to do is wait 5 minutes, and then the learners will be added here. So I'm going to be adding a filter here. So let's click on the add button, and I'm going to select the predefined feed. I'm going to add a new one, and the one that I have set will be for job titles in my learners. And the job titles that I'm going to be using is humanities and social sciences. Okay, so that's the um, job title. So basically, you can set any filter for it, and then you will just have to wait 5 minutes for your learners to be put into the group or added to the group. So I'm going to click on save. So just to show everyone, there are no well, there are members already. Oh, so there we go. So it was already these learners were already added. Earlier there were no members, but now we have Andres Bonifacio, Marcelo Del Pilar, Antonio Luna, Juan Luna, and Apolinario Mabini. So earlier they were not here, but then they were added to the group because of the automatic group membership. So that is the final update. I hope that the simplification of the assessments and the group features are going to help engage and with your learners more. So I'm going to turn it over back to PP, and then we can open the Q&A. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Judy. So let me just open this page is our cover for Q&A part. So, yep, just like Judith said, if you have any question about the topics that we covered today or anything related to NEO, we are very welcome to have your question in the Q&A box. And actually, while we're still waiting for questions to come up, Judith, I also that's also my favorite features update with the automatically membership. It's really cool and make administrator life easier each time we
Yeah,
create new account or maybe
yeah,
a new in a new semester, new student batch of students come in, the administrator don't have to pick one of them, pick each student again to go inside each group. They can just automatically be the member of group that they are related to. That's really cool.
yeah. It's good because especially if you have like learners who re-enroll every year, and then, for example, you have different fields that you have set for these learners. For example, different section names, or they have a different class. If you have a field for them, and then you use
Mhm.
the visibility and the automatic group members, you don't have to keep adding them and getting rid of them. They will just automatically go into the group or get out of the group once you change that their field. So I think that's also a very good it's really one of my favorite features that I try to use a lot.
Yes, exactly. So here I have question about resources.
Mhm.
What is the best way for us to organize our resources? Would you like to have your maybe best practice with your clients? Maybe I can add some also from my point of view.
Yeah, sure. So for resources, what we do is it's the naming conventions. So that's the one thing that I we like to share with other neo clients and neo schools. When you're naming your resources, for example, images, or you're naming your files, um, have a way where you know where you're going to be using it. So for example, uh, I like to name my resources by the class that I'm going to be using it for, and then the topic I'm going to be using for, and then the actual file. So for example, English for academic purposes, topic 1, um, target or learning targets, or course 1, or module 1, lesson 1. So it helps me realize where I'm going to be putting things, especially for teachers who are
Mhm.
um, teaching multiple classes and multiple levels and all of that. So if it's best to really like at least have an idea of how you're going to organize your library, because if you keep putting sample or picture 1, picture 2, picture 3, it gets to be a lot, and then sometimes you won't be able to find the resources in which we're going to be using over and over again. So PP, your best practices for that?
Yeah, my best practices for that, probably using a tags. I love using tags in, I think most of the resources, questions, and lessons that are created by my client, I'll always advise to use tags because it's easier to search. Also, we can use that as a filter.
Oh yeah,
Probably that will
that.
be, but the tags, that we have features with, which is a group tags. Is it the correct name that we have, the group tags? So
Yes.
for the other teachers can just use that category
Mm.
already created by the administrator from the group tags. So they don't have to come up with a new tags every time they create a resources. So it will be easier for the other teachers also to access the resources. I think that's one of the best practices that I experience.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, the tags. Yeah, tags are good. Are
Yes,
there any
yes.
other questions?
Let me see. Let me see. I think, can you check as well on your side?
Ah, okay. So we have a new group update for the class groups as well. So is this applicable for class groups, the automatic? So the other
Mm,
features as discussed for the groups, for example, would be like uh, the features tab configuration that's there. Um, and but I
the
think that's the only
assistant.
one. Yeah, because for the classes in the group, or the groups is in the class, rather, the groups in the class, this is set by the teacher. So it can only really be accessed by other by the members of the class or the learners in the class. So those are the restrictions of the groups that are in the class versus the groups that are on the entire site, or that can be found
Mhm.
within the catalog. So thank you
Yeah,
for that question. And then we have
yeah. And
another one. Yeah, go ahead,
if I
PP.
may add, yeah, if I may add for that question, for the classes group, that will be more, the use will be more of a collaboration in the, yeah, in the purpose of doing some tasks or assignment in your classes, but the groups for the entire organization will be more about not only collaboration, but let's say communicating also, and also managing things between the same group, the same member in the same group, something like that. So that's mostly do it.
Yes, that's true. The groups in the classes are really meant for classwork and engagement and
Mhm.
interaction within that learning group. Okay. We have another question here, PP. I think I'll pass this one on to you. Can you please
Mhm.
expand more on deactivating and reactivating the profile page
Ah,
or the
yes.
learners? Yeah.
Maybe I can share my screen for that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just move to here. Okay. So yeah, I give a brief explanation before about reactivating and deactivating your student from their profile page. So originally, when you would like to reactivate or deactivate your student from the class, you have to visit the class, see the learner list, see the student list, and then select the name and deactivate them or reactivate them from that class. But how about you teach several classes, and your student is being deactivated for all that classes, and you'd like to reactivate them all at once. So what you can do is, now you don't have to visit each classes. find your student name and deactivate them again one by one manually like that. You can just visit your learner. Let's say, let me just pick one student here for sample. If I may, this is the student sample if it's okay. Okay, so for now, what you can do is you can go to the profile page of your student and see the list of classes that the student enrolled into. So this is all the classes that this sample student enrolled into. And if you would like to deactivate them from this class, you can just select the class like this. Let's see for this one. And then I click the deactivate button here. And then this sample student, we are deactivated. And you can see the indicator below the class's name that this student is actually currently deactivated from the computer 102 classes right now. And if you would like to reactivate them, it will be the same steps. You can just visit the profile page like this, select the classes and click the reactivate button. Yes, because the theme of today's product update webinar is all about the simplification. It makes the teachers and administrator life easier to deactivate and reactivate learner without having to visit each classes, find each student name and deactivate them or reactivate them one by one. They can just do it from the profile page like this. So I hope that give a brief look up on how this feature works. Yeah. So I think, do we have another question, Judith? I think we already finished it. We already answer what we have right now, right?
No. Yeah, we're okay. I think all the questions were able to be answered.
Okay, that's good to know. And I can say that we will have a regular product update webinar you can expecting in the future, because we still keep moving on with the new innovation in a teaching and learning experience. So I hope to see you again in our next webinar. You can check out our social media or our website to see the product updates schedule. And I think that's all from me and Judith for today. Thank you so much for attending this webinar and see you again soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.